Hi, I'm Jody Brown. As Satish said, thank you so much to Black Sheep Coffee and to Satish for putting all of this together and all the hard work that you do for us. Came out from Rochester, so that's where he found me. I'm going to read for you a short story first. This was something that I wrote for a contest in May, and the premise of the contest was simply to write 600 words, no more, absolutely no more. And it had to be about something that someone finds that they don't want to return. End of parameters. This is called John Baker, and I'm hoping that this will be sort of the prologue to book one of a trilogy. If you have any thoughts on that, I'm open to suggestion. Come and talk to me. I'll be freed up in about 10 minutes. We can discuss. John Baker. John Baker, property of a Marxist museum, is written on the newest shipment from Cairo. John himself checks in the crates and thoroughly inspects the contents of each container against its travel log, down to the linen roll stuffed inside crate sticks. He unwraps layers of linen to find a tiny cleft in his gloved hands. At this, he nearly faints. But he's worked for 22 years as the Marxist curator, and he manages to control his demeanor. It couldn't possibly be the same piece. Its fabled existence made him sure he'd never hear of it, nor ever see it in his hand. Before his assistant Sarah can see what he's found, he quickly rewraps the linen and he tucks it under his jacket. We'll finish up here in the morning, he tells Sarah, and they secure the room for the night. Not so curiously, he finds only one record of the object in with the paperwork, assigned directly to him, and he is careful to stuff that log in his jacket too. He doesn't stop at his usual watering hole for dinner or drinks. This has been his favorite spot to come since his divorce. This night, he and the object and its record go straight back to his tiny, cluttered apartment. He quickly locks the door behind him, turns on the lights, and checks even the bathroom for intruders before he goes to work. He shakes his head at his caution. Of course, no one followed the object. John opens the wooden cabinet to his study, which for anyone else would be a bedroom or a living room. This is the wood cabinet where he keeps the brandy and the stacks of dusty research papers. Grabbing the leftmost stack, and also the brandy, he slumps into his desk chair. Once plopped, he furiously combs through the stack and finds the article he's looking for, published in 1954 about a tiny, curious object known as the Devil's Clef. The clef, there's an artist rendition, and it's identical to the tiny object he re-unwraps from the linen, is exactly what it proclaims to be. The devil himself is said to have cursed the object, making it impossible to melt, forge, or destroy. Anyone who comes in contact with it has but two choices: to keep the object and let it destroy life as they know it, or to give it away, in which case it destroys the life of the new recipient while granting riches to the former. John isn't sure he believes in this, but then this object is fabled not to exist, and yet there it lies on his brandy desk. And Cairo was in an ultimate hurry to get rid of it. John spends a brandy-filled, sleepless night debating what to do. He wants to send the damn thing to his ex-wife. He thinks of his children of all things, and he thinks of sunshine after a rainstorm and his mother telling him not to look directly into the sun. He can't stop thinking of these old memories. In the morning, he goes straight to the bank and opens a safety deposit box. He bequeaths the box to be opened upon his death, which he figures is soon, to a deceased person, thus making the item given by him to no one. He signs the papers, locks the linen-wrapped object away, and walks out of the bank, renewed in the knowledge that he has just saved mankind, worthy or not, though he'll never believe not. As for himself, he'll take his chances with whatever comes. As Satish said, I'm going to read for you just a little tiny snippet from my book, Upside Down Kingdom, which was published in 2012. It's based on my time, and I lived and worked in Washington, D.C. I was there for 5 years, near the turn of the millennium. And the book is centered between 2000 and 2002. So the presidential election recount, September 11, anthrax, the sniper, these things are all in the book. This scene is before September 11. Our main character, Amy, is going to a party. She's sort of getting to the end of the party scene for her personally. I call them parties in DC. They're really events, usually 2 or 3 at night, sometimes every other night. And these things are put on sometimes by political people, but sometimes not. I remember going to one which was for the launch of a website for Capitol Hill employees. So these things happen all the time, and basically they're just a way to meet and greet. You can go, you can get in for free, get some drinks, get some tiny snack foods that you call dinner, and you can network and exchange business cards with people, and these things are going on all the time. So this scene is from Syntax, S-I-N-T-A-X, which was my favorite party to go to because it's a Washington tradition, and it's based on a ridiculous premise. Quinn only took me to Republican parties. I was sure there must be Democratic counterparts, but no one ever invited me to any. Each party had a name and a theme, but Syntax was probably the most famous of the parties Quinn and I attended. Held on April 15th at the Republican-run Capitol Hill Club, Syntax was a party devoted to smoking and drinking. Clouds of smoke hovered in the air so thick it was difficult to see. Ancient men in suits preyed upon 20-something interns. Tuxedoed bartenders poured three-finger drinks and lit cigarettes for the smoking clientele. Quinn smoked and drank, and I stuck mostly to drinking since smoking gracefully seemed beyond my capabilities. We mingled, ate finger foods, and mingled some more. Quinn introduced me to some of his office mates who seemed to have more personality than most. We joined their circle for a little while and listened as they told stories. Okay, one girl says, so I'm in DuPont Circle one afternoon waiting to cross the street, and I see all these TV cameras over there pointed at us. And I was new to DC then, so I'm looking around for like the president or something to be standing there when I realized the woman next to me is Monica Lewinsky herself. No way, one person says in awe. Yeah, she's standing right beside me, and she sees me staring at her. And I'm going, you're, and the walk sign pops up, and Monica starts to walk across the street, and I'm standing there like a dope, and all I can think is, you go, girl. Get out. No, I said that, I'm serious. But anyway, here's the best part. Monica hears me say, you go, girl, and she cracks up. I mean, she starts laughing in the middle of the street. She comes running back over to me and gives me a big hug, and then she keeps going on her way. Can you believe that? I ran into a few of the lobbyists who'd been at our office party, but mostly it was the same crowd of congressional interns in pearls and sweater sets and smart glasses who were in attendance at every party. I was the only one in silk. A green and white dress that was very classy, but a bit more feminine than the boxy suits and sweater sets around me. The ancient suited men weren't sure what to do with me. A few tried to hit on me, and I politely declined, and the rest just stared. What are you drinking, my dear? Asked a puffy, sweaty man, probably 3 times my age. I sighed inwardly, but pasted a pained smile on my face. It's wine, I said. Let me get you another one, he offered. Thank you, but my friend just went to get one. Have I seen you before? He walked closer, looking me up and down. Here, let me introduce you to my colleagues. And he put his hand on my back to lead the way, breathing alcohol on me. So I met his friends, though I already knew some of them from our Hill office. I smiled and talked for a minute and then excused myself and found Quinn again. I'd been to enough of these to know the drill. First thing, don't make eye contact with anyone staring at you. Somehow it's construed as an invitation for a pickup. If thrust into that situation, don't show any weakness or any dubious strength. For instance, don't fidget, twirl your hair, or let them steer the conversation. At the same time, don't flirt or laugh, and don't be caught drinking scotch, whiskey, or anything masculine, because 2% of the time you can handle it, and 98% of the time you can't, and everyone knows it. Beer is also hard to pull off in ladylike fashion. It's tough to belch in polite conversation, and it says college when you're not in a bar. Above all, don't use any sexual innuendos or anything remotely close to it, or Old Sweaty will tell you his rendition of good times. It's difficult, but possible, to politely get away. But now here's the clincher. Don't be afraid to be impolite, or even downright rude. Yes, rude. Etiquette says never. But the drunk Hill types know that Hill ladies were brought up to be charming. So when the charm drops and you embarrass them in front of their friends, they'll generally leave you alone. So that's your guidebook on how to live and work in Washington, D.C. The Monica Lewinsky story did happen exactly like that. That's exactly how it was told to me by a law student, of all people. And more than just an official guidebook to how to live and work in D.C., this book is a little bit more than that. It was taught its first year in print at a humanities course in Rochester at the college level. Dr. John Sievers was teaching the art of being human, his class, which incorporated big ticket items like love, art, religion, and music, and he asked his students to take a good hard look at the way we treat one another as human beings. And this book was required reading for a year in that class. So I'm very proud of it. I have one final thing to read for you before I release the microphone. It's a poem It's an angry poem, but it's set in a coffee shop, so I thought it would be appropriate. This one's called Redefining Meek. First of all, Rick, I do remember your name, and that you like the occasional herbal tea, and sometimes even a bowl of the soup. And though it would break Dale Carnegie's heart, I'll tell you what I think. You're wrong. A woman who writes poetry does not have to be a mild or a timid person who would break or cry at your disapproval. One doesn't achieve a degree putting personal feelings on paper without developing along the way. So I'm here today to set the record straight on the word meek. Everyone knows it means submissive, spiritless, tame. Did you know it also means patiently enduring an injury? Well, today the enduring ends, because I'm out of patience. You see a mysterious poetess in your coffee waitress. I think you need to get cable for your TV. Stop looking for things that aren't here and open your eyes to what is. I work 2 full-time jobs. I don't have time to get up earlier to dig up some poems for you to peruse while you complain about your coffee. Let's talk sexy now, Rick. My tonsils are swollen, my toes are numb, and I'm tired. Tired of the stigma that you coffee drinkers put on your waitresses. Why do we have to be hiding a sad or a dark secret? I believe in ghosts, I believe in God, but there is no mystery in this. Sometimes we smile because it's our job. I'm sorry you delight in these coffee shop fantasies. Get a cat, sir. I'm sorry you need to harass your waitress to get a look at her poetry, and that all you see in me is a captivating mystery. Let me solve it for you. I'm too young to be engaged or married, and I'm too old to be dating my customers. Most of you blindly think that I'm here to entertain you, and that a big-eyed girl is just quiet, and she's waiting to be corrupted. But what I feel toward you is not fear that you'll read my words and know my heart. They're here for the world to read. And let me say quickly here that I don't talk about myself simply because I'm old enough not to need to. That doesn't give me depth, that gives me discretion. I've nothing to prove, and you've little to gain if you've made it this far in your life without seeing the obvious. I am not a glass for you to break. You said you would read my stuff and not judge it, but all I can do is give you this piece filled with judgment about you, because people like you who smile at the waitress and think you know her and ask about her poetry because it will give you a special bond with her, you that think you can be that thing she's missing, you poach at the dragon. I'm not your personal puzzle waiting for you to figure me out and get inside my head and see what I think and how I think it. Let me save you the time. I'm Turkish coffee. You're cream and 3 sugars. It's cute that you think you can save me even from myself, but I don't need your salvation or your attention or your dollar. You can't fill a void that doesn't exist, and asking about my poems will not make me swoon. So I spit these words back on the page for you so that you can warn others like you to wake up and smell the Java.